righty. Here we go. This is it. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse live. In between games live report here. We're going to be looking at how the Knicks are doing against the top teams in both divisions. And we're going to look at the top four teams in the East and how they compare against each other against the elite competition. And we're going to look at whether the Knicks have actually cracked the top contending tier. They officially have. My opinion, but we'll look around. We'll see what other people are thinking about. We're going to break it all down. Welcome into the Knicks-Verse. Again, my name is George. If this is your first time here, you've been here before, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Follow me on social media if you want. You can join the channel as well. And there is a new code, $5 off anything on the Knicks-Verse shop. It's the 5-year anniversary code. Knicks-Verse has been around 5 years, and the code is 5 off special. So anybody can use that, access that. So jump on it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. Here we go. This was a really interesting tweet that was put out by New York Basketball. The bad news is the Knicks lost to OKC. The good news is the Knicks are up 2-0 in the second round of the playoffs. And this is what happened. Look at that. East semis. New York leads 2-0. That was left on there. Is it a sign of things to come? ESPN? Maybe. That was a funny, whimsical way to start this off. But we do have some good news. Somewhat good news. Ian Begley was on the putback today. And in his notes, he says Miles McBride's recovery is going well. And the Knicks defense is moving. Knicks defense is moving in the right direction. That's all. But this is about Deuce here. His recovery is doing well. McBride told reporters last month that he's in the midst of a slow process to return. Shortly after surgery, a source told SNY that McBride is on a 6 to 8 week timeline for recovery. He hasn't, and then Ian said he hadn't heard anything since then that would contradict the 6 to 8 week timeline. If McBride returns 8 weeks after the surgery, he'd be back on the floor for the final week of the regular season. So it's a 6 to 8 week. Let's say he comes back in 7 weeks, so maybe he gets the final 2 weeks. So we might be a month away. You never know. He could return earlier. He could return in the 6 week window, and it would be great to see him. It's going to be interesting to see how Mike Brown handles his return, especially with the way Jose Alvarado has been playing and Mohamed Diawara has been playing as well. And Ian noted here, when McBride returns, Knicks head coach Mike Brown will have to adjust his rotation. It seems unlikely that Brown would cut Jose Alvarado's minutes. The Knicks traded for Alvarado with the idea that he'd be an important part of the rotation. Will rookie Mohamed Diawara see fewer minutes when McBride returns? Diawara is shooting 43% from the three-point line in averaging 14 minutes per game. And his length and size, it's going to be difficult to keep him off the court. I believe, this is my feeling about this. I think it's going to be situational. Obviously, he's going to tighten it up. He's going to end up at the most have a 9-man rotation in the playoffs. But as we know, most likely it becomes an 8-man rotation or 8.5, whatever it is. But it depends on who the opponent is, who you're matching up with. If you're matching up with a long athletic team, you might need a Mo Diawara out there. If you're matched up against a more of a half-court type of team, it's great to have a Deuce. It's great to have Alvarado out there and Mo as well. So it gives you a lot. It's a good problem to have. And I think actually what it might end up meaning is that the minutes of the starters, the wings right now, OG and Mikal, get a couple of extra minutes of rest each game, maybe each half, maybe an additional 4 minutes each. And that amounts to 8 minutes. That's enough to have Mo Diawara out there and making his impact while he's out there. In his 4 minutes, he could give you, in his 8 minutes in a game, in the playoffs, he can give you 6-7 points and some lively defense. it's a great, it's a wealth of riches to have right here, have this much depth. So I'm excited for Deuce's return, though, because he is instrumental to the Knicks' chances of winning the NBA championship. As you saw the game last night against OKC, the Knicks fared well, but they could have used the Deuce and they could have used the Mitch. And having those two guys available for a playoff run is key. Having every single guy right now is needed. That's just a fact for the Knicks to be able to achieve the ultimate goal, which is playing in June. So his return, it's great to hear that everything is on the timeline, correct timeline, because tomorrow might be the return of Jason Tatum. In fact, here it says, Shams reported this out, there's an expectation that Jason Tatum will make his 2025-26 season debut for the Boston Celtics on Friday night at TD Garden versus Dallas. Sources tell ESPN. Tatum has been described as ready to go and will inform the Celtics of a final decision over the next day. If he's coming back this early, I honestly, I personally think I know what's going to happen. He comes back, BetMGM, all these sports sites, they're going to immediately put Boston as the number one team to win the Eastern Conference. I don't see it that way at all. This team, healthy last year, lost to the Knicks. They are not as good a team this season as they were last season. They're a surprising team. They're interesting to watch, but if they're not making their buckets, they're very vulnerable. And I'm going to show you how vulnerable they are when you compare them to other winning teams. In fact, I wish I had this already set up, but I'm going to try and do it on the fly for you guys right now. Well, this is what the playoff picture looks like right now for the Knicks, for everybody. This is what would happen if right now the season ended and the records were exactly the same right now. That means the Pistons would play, obviously, the winner of the 9-10 and loser of the 7-8 game in the play-in. And the Celtics, because they're the second seed, would play the winner of that. So let's say, let's just play safe. Let's say it's the Heat defeat the Magic, and it's the Hornets defeat the Hawks, and then the Hornets defeat the Magic. So then it's the Hornets against the Pistons and the Heat against the Celtics. Heat against the Celtics, it's not an easy matchup. It's not an easy matchup at all. And the Hornets are coming on strong. They've been a very surprising team of late. Very surprising team of late, and they actually just beat the Celtics. So the Celtics don't want to they don't want the Hornets to leapfrog the Heat to get the 8th position, because then they'll have a chance to get into the 7th seed, and they don't want to face them there. But thing is, we're right there. We could end up being the 2nd seed. But right now, we are the 3rd seed, and we would play the Sixers. We will beat the Sixers, no doubt about it, in that first round matchup. We will beat them, and then we will have to face the winners of the 4-5 series. Is what we'll have. Actually, we'll play the winners of the number 2-7 series, which would be the Celtics or whoever the Heat, whoever they end up facing there. So we'll play them in the second round. So we're going to play the Celtics in the second round, most likely. Is it really worth risking the health of your franchise player to come back and lose in 6 games in the second round? What kind of glory is that? You think they're coming for revenge? There ain't going to be any revenge. OG and McCall are better players this season than they were last season. The Knicks as a whole are a better team, a much more difficult team to deal with than they were last season. The Knicks have already manhandled the Celtics recently, even with the new players that they've added. I see this as the risk reward. If you're going to risk this because you think you have a legitimate chance of winning the NBA championship, that's one thing. But they don't. They don't have the 7-footer, 6'11" guy who can shoot from the outside. Well, I guess they ended up getting Vooch, but Vooch is not dependable. He's completely playoff unproven. There's too many question marks for these Celtics. But if they want to live in that delusional world, let them. I think it's a big risk. And for them to just end up, maybe they even, who knows, they may not even beat the Heat. They may not even beat the Hornets in the first round. That's how I feel about that. And one of the reasons I believe that is because of this. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I want to see if I can pull this up. I was supposed to have it ready before, and I'm bummed that I didn't. Here we go. Okay. All right. I'm doing this on the fly for all of us here, but it'll be well worth it. I put some time into this for everybody. Here we go. All right. Thanks for your patience while I put this together. Appreciate you guys all the time. Letting my cat out of the room. Okay. All right. So, this is the Celtics numbers. I mean, the Celtics. These are the Charlotte Hornets numbers. But let's not spend too much time on that. Let's move to this. Look, this is how Detroit has performed against the top 4 teams in the East and all winning teams. Okay? This is how the Pistons, did I say Celtics? Pistons, I meant. The Detroit Pistons versus winning teams so far this season. They've played them 34 times, which is the fewest of the top 4 teams in the East. They've played the fewest winning teams so far. But they have a tremendous 26-8 record. That's even better than their regular season record against all teams, shockingly. A 765 winning percentage, 26-8. Fantastic. But against the top 4 teams in each conference, which include the Pistons, Knicks, Celtics, and Cavaliers in the East, and the Thunder, Rockets, Minnesota, and Houston in the West. Now, Denver is 1 game behind both Houston and Minnesota. They're and they've had so many injuries, and if they get Aaron Gordon back, I consider them to be a top 4. Clearly, I actually think they are my second favorite to come out of the West, which is why I'm including their record down here, down below, but they're not included in the above stat line there. So Detroit is 10-5 against the top 4 teams in each conference. They are 3-0 versus the Knicks. So really, they're 7-5 versus the rest of the top tiers, which is a 583 winning percentage. And they're 2-0 against Denver. But they have yet to play the Timberwolves at all. So they have 2 more games against the Timberwolves coming up. Now, the Knicks, this is how they stack up. The Knicks versus those 500-plus teams with winning records, they have a 22-18 win-loss record. That's a 550 winning percentage. Now, the Knicks have played the most winning teams of all these teams. They've had 40 games against them, while Detroit's only had 34. So that's 6 more additional games Detroit has to play against winning teams. So we'll see what happens. But they have been kicking ass in that respect. But here's the Knicks against the top 4 teams of each conference. They are now 7-8, and that includes the loss against OKC last night. But when you take away the 3 losses against Detroit, they have the same record against all the other teams that Detroit has, 7-5. They have a 583 winning percentage. So the Knicks and Detroit, here's Detroit, have the same exact winning percentage against the top 5 teams when you remove their head-to-head combats. So obviously the Knicks have a Pistons problem, no doubt. But in terms of how they perform against the cream of the crop, the Knicks are equal to the Pistons. Now, let's look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to end with Boston. Here's the Cavaliers record. Cavaliers are 20-19 against winning teams. That's a 512 winning percentage. And against the top 4 teams in each conference, they have a 6 wins and 11 losses. 6-11. They're underwater. A 352 winning percentage. Now, they are 2-0 against Denver, which would have helped them if Denver was up there. But they're 0-3 against Toronto, which is the team they will most likely have to play in the play-in. So they made the trades to get better. Harden has been a playoff disappointment, especially of recent years. I don't think they've improved their chances of going deep as much as other people have, as much as other people believe. I don't believe that. I still believe right now it's Knicks, Pistons, and Celtics who are the real legitimate team, the three teams that have a legitimate chance of winning the East. But now you look at, Boston's been so good. They never lose, though they got their asses kicked last night by the Charlotte Hornets. So before we get to Boston, let's look at Charlotte Hornets. Here are the Hornets. They only have a .416 winning percentage against winning teams, or 15-21. They're 5-10 against the top 4 teams of each conference, so they're 33%. Though they're 1-1 against Denver and 2-2 against Toronto. They are a team that is improving. A lot of those losses happened earlier in the season before they got Brandon Miller back and they started clicking on all cylinders. Right now, they're a very dynamic, fun team to watch, and they evidenced by how they destroyed the Celtics last night. Now, the Knicks played best team in the NBA and lost by, a missed shot at the end and some weird calls, but it was 103-100. Knicks were right there. It was an incredibly competitive game. And they had just beaten the second best team in the West, resoundingly, the San Antonio Spurs. And they have beaten the Boston Celtics recently, resoundingly. Now, they did lose to the Pistons, which was disappointing, but Knicks are showing that they're right there. They are legitimate contenders. Now let's look at, Knicks, a .583 winning percentage against the top tier teams, not including Detroit, but they are at .467, including Detroit. Look at Boston. Here's Boston's record against winning teams. They've only played 36 games against winning teams. That's 4 less than the Knicks. They have a .555 winning percentage against winning teams, while the Knicks have a .550, and they've played an additional 4 games. But against the top 4 teams, Boston is 5-8. They have a .384 winning percentage, which is 0.808 less than the Knicks. 0.08 less than the Knicks. They have the same amount of losses and 2 less wins. Now, that means they have to play them more. They have yet to play OKC, the Celtics. They're 0-2 against Denver. I don't think that Boston is a team to be concerned about. At the end of the day, it's a Pistons problems for the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to have to figure out how to deal with the Pistons to get to the promised land at this moment. Just showed you right there how it all breaks down. Let's get back to this. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me here today. Got some highlights here for you guys. We got Resende in the house. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for joining me here. We got Chris Gotti. We got Grady B. Got a nice group here. How about Cleveland? I showed you that Cleveland. Cleveland is they're definitely a respectable team. There's no doubt about it. They're a respectable team, but they're not a team that I am concerned with at the moment. They haven't fared well against the top tier teams in both conferences. Against the top 4 teams, they only have a 35% winning percentage against them. They're 6-11 against the winning teams in both conferences, which tells me they're a tier below. If we're talking about tiers here, obviously Pistons are the top tier, but the Knicks, when you remove the head-to-head duels between the two teams, they have the same exact record against the top 4 teams. Now, can the Knicks in the playoffs deal with the Pistons? We shall see. That'll be something we shall see. But here's the other thing about that. The other thing about that is the Pistons got to get to the finals themselves. It's not going to be that. If they end up playing the Hornets, it's going to be tough. They're going to have their hands full with the way the Hornets have been playing lately. Hornets just destroyed the Celtics. So I'm expecting this to be. Oh, here we go. Oh, we got a little commercial here. Did not realize that was going to happen. Yeah. Let's fix this. Skip this thing. AutoZone. Okay. Oh, another one. So I don't like these game time highlights. Yeah, so that's what. We got Grady in the house. So Josh Hart is not a shooter. If he hits any threes, that's a definite plus. That is true. That is true. Look, we all know that if Mitch was healthy last night, Knicks would have won this game. We just know that's what happened. Even though we ended up dominating the boards and all that, but look at how ineffective Huck Porty was. Those Huck Porty minutes, we left food on the table right there. Even though Shamet was hitting his buckets, oh look at that. That's the play that everyone's been talking about. The NBA referees came out today with a report saying that Brunson didn't give Shea enough room. Yeah, let's see if we can see that play again. Here we go. Let's see this play again. In real time. Here. He had plenty of time. He could see Brunson was there. Referees are covering their own asses now. Literally just fabricating. Yeah. Look at this. Look at Huck Porty just complete. Got ropey doped right there. You think if that was Mitch, you think Shea would have gotten that bucket? Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Oh, man. Look at him go there. All right, so I've shown you how the Knicks are really the in the top tier with the Pistons in the East. If they come out of the East and they going to battle OKC, we got a taste of it last night. This was a legit playoff type atmosphere. It was low scoring. It was a grind fest. Both teams struggled to shoot to a certain extent, though the Knicks struggled a lot more. But luckily, Karl-Anthony Towns took care of the offensive glass and putbacks. He had several putbacks. Ooh, that was a nice play right there. The three-point shot wasn't there for the Knicks last night, but plays like this were for Towns. When it comes down to refereeing in the playoffs, it's going to be very different. I think they're going to let the teams play a little more, so there's going to be less foul calling in general. And usually in the playoffs, you try to call it pretty equal both ways. You're not going to have a situation where a referee decides on his own in the first quarter or early second quarter that, I can't give Shea a third foul right now because then he'll have to sit for the rest of this half. That's a crazy thing to think, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm convinced that's exactly what the refs were thinking. And because they're like, you know what? This is a nationally broadcast game. The next game is going to be terrible. It's the Bucks and the Hawks. We got to make sure that we give the national audience, some good stuff to watch. And if Shea's just sitting on the bench in foul trouble, that's just not going to work. Adam Silver's going to, be really upset. He might spank me a little bit. Who knows? It's like this is, I think, the thoughts that go through their heads. The referees need to be judged much higher, much tougher, and they need to be demoted much quicker if they are not making the right calls consistently throughout a game for both teams. That's got to happen. That was a crazy shot by Josh right there to finish the first half. So he makes that shot. The Knicks go in down 10. But I'm telling you, man, Knicks make their buckets last night. They would have won this by 15. If they make their free throws, they would have eked this win out. And that's with OKC being relatively healthy, considering they still don't have Jalen Williams, J-Dub, who was one of the main reasons they won it all last season. But they haven't had him for majority of the season, so you got to judge them for what they have right now. We don't have Deuce now. You can't, Deuce and J-Dub. They're not. It's not apples to apples, but hey, they're a key part of your team, your chemistry. Oh, look at that play. Love that play right there. So now we're into the third quarter, and that's when the Knicks start making their run. They were once down 15, but look at that beautiful, first of all, great find by Cat, finding a cutting Shamet, and he hit the and one. So nice little friendly bounce there from McCall. Now we're just down 8. Here we go. Here comes Grand Theft. Alvarado, look at that beautiful cut. When the Knicks are moving like that, look, OKC had no answers. Because OKC are a great defensive team. They're the best in the league. But if they're in transition, they are vulnerable. The Knicks cooked them in fast break points last night. I think they were a plus 20 in fast break points, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, that McCain 3. That hurt. The Knicks were like right there. Now they were down 4. Now they're up down 7. But the Knicks hit a 3-pointer right after that. And here comes Brunson to tie the game with the friendly bounce. Let's go. 72 all. Absolutely. Oh, we got Trapped in the 90s in the house. What's up? We got Ray Ruckus. Jay Cruz. Thank you guys for rolling up. Connor. What's up? Connor T. Let's go, Knicks. Let's go. That was a beautiful dunk right there. Tie it up. Going into the, relieve everybody of the commercial as well. Okay, here we go. Go back. Here we go. That's my trick. This was humongous. Boom! Knicks take the lead at the end of third quarter. They were once down 15. Now they're up 3. And then Mike Brown did something interesting. Now, these highlights actually skipped those minutes. I'm going to pause it here. Look who's on the court here. Cat, Alvarado, Hart, Shamet, and McCall. But to start the fourth quarter, it was the 5 starters of the Knicks. And they let OKC get back in this game and tie it up and then eventually take the lead. That unit is not working for the Knicks. It's not working. They let Spurs get a 10 or 12-point lead. They were down against Toronto Raptors, 10 points, and they were down against OKC, 10 points. At some point, Mike Brown's going to have to make the tough decision and realize that unit of Hart, Brunson, Bridges, OG, and Cat ain't cutting it. They ain't cutting it. And he's going to have to make an adjustment. And the way that Landry Shamet played last night, pretty eye-opening. And the way he plays defense on both ends, really, and he's a much better shooter than Hart. He's a floor spacer. And I love the way he's cutting and finishing at the rim. He's not as good a rebounder, but he's a better defender than Hart, in my opinion. He's not as good a rebounder as Hart or as good a passer as Hart. But those two attributes are not as crucial as the need for floor spacing and the need for consistent scoring and better defense, especially defense out on the perimeter, especially one-on-one defense. Hart creates a lot of fouls. He is a good passer, but he's very mistake-prone. He turns the ball over a lot. And he's someone that it's already shown that when he plays more than X minutes per game, which I think it's more than 30 minutes per game, you have diminishing returns with him. So if you keep him 28 minutes and under and give Shamet the start, and Hart can end up playing more minutes than Shamet. I don't care. But the starting unit, the team needs to get off to good starts, not constantly be playing from behind, which is what's been happening of late. And I have some more stats to show how that works out. Boom. They hit that. So now it's 86-83. And now it's a battle to the end. This was such a good game, good fourth quarter. That was a goaltending. Look, if Mitch is there, it's not a goaltend. Mitch swats that thing out of them. Shea may not even follow up and do it. These are two teams that are slugging back and forth. Now the Knicks are down 6. And OG hits his three. Man, if he had hit that three at the end of the game, fuck. So that would have changed so much. Shout out to the chat. We got 100 in the chat. Nice. Chat was definitely a problem for the Knicks in the first half. He had 22 points or something like that. Was 6 of 8 from the 3-point line. He matched his. He actually that was his career high in made threes. He did it all in the first half. That was a beautiful play by Brunson. Brunson had 15 assists last night. He was sharing the ball. He wasn't making buckets as consistently as we needed him to, but that was a huge play. OG, he overreacted to Shea's attempt to drive by him. And then, boom, here's another sweet play with a minute left. Now it's 103.98. Minute and 5 left. Knicks get the stop on that end. And then Brunson doing Brunson things. Mr. Clutch. Now, they're probably not going to show the great defense on the other end. So this play, look, clean look. Oh, just off. And then we get this. I was like, oh, my God, we got this. We're going to tie it. Oh, look how bummed OG was. That's the most bummed, the biggest reaction I've ever seen from OG. Look at him. And he's smiling and everything. But you know what the end result of this is? The end result, I believe, is OKC. What they learned last night is if they have to face this team in the finals, they're going to have to play the very best basketball they can to win. A new level of respect was gained last night by these Knicks in the way they played. Of course, you want to win. But what the Knicks came out victorious last night with is a new sense of belonging in the top tier of contending teams. After taking care of business against Houston, against Denver, against the Celtics, and against the Spurs, the Knicks have proven with wins against all those, and now they're going to play Denver against all those, that they are an elite team in the NBA. A team to be feared, actually. Now, the Pistons may not feel that way, and that's their prerogative. They're 3-0 against us. But we know what happened last year. Celtics were feeling pretty confident against this Knicks team. And they ended up being sent to Cancun pretty early. All right. Oh, wait. No, let's get back to this. I'm not done. I'm not done, but I'm glad I got to show you guys that. Let's check this out over here. Here we go. Let's keep going here. We got the chat going. Guys, we got APAP in the house. What's up, Zach? Zach, New York to LA. What's up, brother? Got who else is in here? Grady B. Oh, we got a nice group in here. Yeah, fuck the refs. That's right, man. All right, so this is interesting, especially in light of the ref situation. So Tommy Beer, who we love here into the Knicks-Verse, is replying to this guy BCB. It's like Shea is at 22% of his shots from 3, drives nearly 30% more per game than Brunson. And this is in response to why does Shea get more foul calls than Brunson? He's saying because he drives more, he lives in the mid-range and the paint. But Tommy responds with, okay, 56 field goal attempts off drives this season. Brunson has 463. Shai Gilgeous has 447. So Brunson drives more often than Shai. Field goals attempted in the paint non-restricted area, 329 for Brunson. 246. That's like 83%, 83 less. 83 less for Shai Gilgeous. Field goals attempts in the mid-range this season. Now, Shai Gilgeous does attempt more of those, 274 to 231, but that's not where you usually get the foul calls. Free throw attempts this season. Shai Gilgeous has 476 free throw attempts, and Brunson only 334. So, people say Brunson's a foul baiter. Look at this. The proof is in the pudding. Shai gets the calls. Jalen does not. Now, in the playoffs, that's going to be a little different. Some update here, injury update. The Knicks are listing Josh Hart as questionable for Friday's game in Denver due to a lower back contusion. Mitchell Robinson has been removed from the injury report and will return to action. So we lose Josh and gain Mitch. Another Tommy Beer tweet. We're going for the triptych here, the hat trick here for Tommy Beer tweets. The Knicks outscored the Thunder by 12 points into 31 minutes. Landry Shamet was on the court last night. The fact that Shamet can post a team high plus minus on a night he did not make a single three-pointer, 0 for 3, speaks volumes about his overall two-way impact, and that is one of the reasons why I believe now is the time to make the switch. And if Hart can't play on Friday, you start Landry Shamet, and you keep. And if it works, if they start the numbers haven't been great with Shamet with that other unit. They haven't, but they haven't had enough time with it. So give him some time. Let's see how this thing works out, because Josh Hart's energy is more suited coming off the bench. He's not a starter. Would he start on OKC? Would he? Would you start him over Dort? Would you start him over? I mean, who would you start him over? Nobody. You know, look at Denver. Would he start in Denver? No. Would he start for the Pacers? No, I don't think so. Would he start for the Pistons? Would you start him over Oscar Thompson? No. So let's stop kidding with ourselves. But this guy. Oh, this is more in speaking to what I'm talking about with the starting unit. Teg tweeted this out, IQ for 3. In 7 games, 94 minutes, the starting unit is a minus 42. They have an offensive rating of 94 and a defensive rating of 119, which is atrocious. And that was a retweet of his tweet, it says Knicks starting lineup of Brunson, Bridges, Hart, OG, Cat in the last 5 games. Oh, that was a previous one. They've started in versus the top 4 seeds. They are a minus 22 in 67 total minutes of play, and it only got worse in the next 2 games. That's enough data to know that the starting unit isn't doing the job. And we had a similar situation last season with Thibs and his stubbornness. He wouldn't deviate from the starting lineup that wasn't not a starting lineup should be like a +8. You know, that should not like a +2. This guy, the Strickland, tweets this out. Mohamed Diawara in 395 NBA minutes. He's 35 and 87 from the three-point line. That's a 40% from the three-point line. In 321 minutes with Cholet Basket last year, he only attempted 32 threes, hit only 7. That was a 22%. Insane development out of nowhere, it feels like. Sky is the ceiling for this man. Absolutely the ceiling for this guy. I am so hyped for him. Point Made Basketball tweeted this out. At 6'10" in shoes and with a 7'4" wingspan, Mohamed Diawara looks gigantic out there. And while his size has been a huge plus, it's his perimeter shot making that's helped push him up this Knicks rotation early into his career. He's shooting 41.8% from 3. We got ourselves a winner right there, guys. Big time. Big time. All righty. Going to wrap this up. I think we've hit all the notes that were needed to be hit. Yes, we have. We have some good news about Deuce. Mitch will be back for tomorrow night's game against Denver. I will try to do a pregame show. If not, I'll definitely be doing a postgame show, so stay tuned for that. There is a new code for Knicks merch. Check out the shop. Go to knicksverseshop.square.site, and the code is 5 off special. It's $5 off anything in the store. And there'll be terms and conditions and stuff, but it's $5, straight $5, so it's not a percentage. You can get your Knicks-Verse gear in time for the playoffs that are coming. Look at that beautiful stroke. Loved it. Love it, man. And if you want to help support the channel, you can join. The join button's down below. You get the members-only halftime reports, plus deeper discounts. There is actually a members-only discount that I'll be releasing to the members soon as well. And this is a good times. I feel really good, even though it was a loss last night. I feel good about what the Knicks have done, what they've shown. They have a resilience. They never give up. They could have folded. They could have packed it up last night. They could have been like, you know what? We've done what we can. We're down 8. We're down 15. Let's just let it go. Never let go of the rope. They kept battling and battling. And this is on a night where their key guys couldn't make a bucket. They couldn't shoot a 3. But they kept battling. And that's because when you play top-level defense, the Knicks have the number 1 rated defense in the past, 15 games or so. You know, you can always lean into that. And eventually your shot's going to come around. And there's also a night where Cat didn't even attempt a 3-point shot. That's something that cannot happen in the playoffs, especially against a top-tier team like this. Especially on a night when Chet, look at him, he's flopping around right there. A night when Chet is just draining 3 after 3. You need to have a response to that. Now, our response was Mo. You know, he hit his first 3-point attempts. Fabulous. But still, you have to get Cat some looks. That as a team, you have to do it. Though he gave you defensively, he was amazing. Ended up with a double-double. Really happy with. Unfortunately, he fouled out. Terrible. The officiating was a nightmare. I didn't want to get that into it. I got into it last night in the recap. The officiating was atrocious last night. Completely unfair. Especially when there was a foul call on OG in a key moment in the game. Not on OG. Foul call on an OG drive to the basket. They call a blocking. A charge. They call it blocking. And OKC challenges it. So not only did that get reversed, but it's like if they had not even made the call, it couldn't have gotten reversed. But they didn't make the call they didn't even call a blocking foul against Brunson with that SGA play, so the Knicks couldn't challenge that. So it's like, the challenging and not being able to challenge situation is very frustrating. Not sure it's working for the NBA right now, the way the challenging system is and the replay system is working. For out-of-bounds balls, absolutely, totally works, because you want to get that correct, and you have enough camera angles to get that correct. But if you're saying, oh, this is a foul here because we got to look at it under slow motion, but you could do that in every play. Every play could be like that. There's fouls every single play. There's a foul. They're just letting it go because it's the texture of the game. They're allowing either more physicality or less physicality. You know, it's like they're putting their foot on the pedal. And it's up to the refs to manage the tone of that game. Now, I did get into that. I was going to say I wasn't going to talk about it. Now I am talking about it. But they really unfairly impacted the Knicks. Now, that's something I don't see happening in the playoffs. So that's a good thing. All right. This is it. This is it now. We'll be signing off. Code is down below there. Very, very excited about the Knicks' chances. This road trip right now is huge. If the Knicks come back 4-1 on this road trip, it'd be fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Would not be surprised at all. Okay, I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go. Let's pummel these teams on the road.